in the political sphere, but this was my first applicable job experience, or directly applicable job experience. And right now I'm interviewing for a position within the Shumlin administration. There's no guarantees that I'll get it. There are very limited number of seats available, but I think in a lot of ways I proved that I have the passion, the work ethic, and the integrity to work for Peter Shumlin. Additionally, I think even if I were to not get a position in the Shumlin administration, I really value the experience I got working on this campaign. Before, in my current job as a support worker at the Howard Center, I've always kind of entertained notions of applying for a program manager position, essentially, case management level position. But I was never really confident in my managerial abilities until this campaign. Ideally, I'd like to work hand in hand with the legislature. I don't know what exact positions are available. Essentially, we're at a really strange spot in American politics, where nationwide, the Republican platform has essentially become to block any Democratic initiative. It's a defensive posture, and essentially their goal is to make sure we don't pass any liberal legislation. Now, I'm hoping that in Vermont we can set an example for the rest of the state and show that our candidates are willing to work hand in hand and to work across party lines to get some really important things done. We're in a very difficult spot economically in Vermont as well as socially. And if we're not able to work hand in hand with Republicans, independents, and third-party candidates in order to make this state a better place, then we're going to be in a worse place in 2 years. So my career plans essentially boil down to I want to work as a diplomat. Moderation and facilitation have always been something that I've been very passionate about, and it's something I'd like to continue in post-secondary education and essentially do for the rest of my life. Now, if I could start that work with the Shumlin administration now, I believe that would be great. We're going to have tons and tons of lobbyists pouring into the state of Vermont now because of single-payer healthcare. Essentially, if we get single-payer healthcare passed in Vermont, Vermont can lead the rest of the country in enacting a single-payer universal healthcare system. There's a lot of support for single-payer universal healthcare, and there's a lot of opposition. So right now we're at a very exciting time when it comes to legislation in Vermont, in that we are going to have a lot of outside interests pouring into Vermont, either in support of single-payer healthcare or against it. Single-payer universal healthcare is essentially a pool that's set up that provides universal healthcare to every single Vermonter. It's essentially the Dr. Dinosaur and Medicare programs for everyone. It ensures that every Vermonter has access to healthcare and has medical coverage when they need it. Additionally, it ensures that the costs from healthcare and the amount of money that Vermonters are paying into healthcare don't go directly into the pockets of extremely rich CEOs of insurance companies. A lot of people argue against single-payer healthcare right now by saying that they don't want the tax burden of supporting, another Vermonter. But essentially the way the system works now is if an uninsured Vermonter, if a homeless guy falls and breaks his leg and goes into the hospital, whose premiums go up? Yours or mine. The way single-payer healthcare would work is that there's no such thing as a rising premium because everyone's insured. Additionally, healthcare costs right now, about 65% of healthcare costs and the amount you pay into your premium goes right into some executive's pocket at the insurance company, whether it's Blue Cross and Blue Shield or another company. It's billed as administrative costs. What single-payer healthcare would ensure is that money that you're paying into your insurance goes into a support structure locally to stay in Vermont and to ensure that all Vermonters get the basic healthcare coverage they need. In a lot of ways, this governor's race was important for Democrats on a national level for the reason that, Peter Shumlin, during his time as President Pro Tem of the legislature in Vermont, the Senate, he was able to get a single-payer health care bill passed. It passed in both the House and the Senate. Now, the only reason we didn't get single-payer health care in that instance was because of a veto from Governor Jim Douglas. Now, with Peter Shumlin as our governor, I totally foresee it being a possibility that we can implement single-payer health care in Vermont. If we're able to show that single-payer universal health care is a system that can be successfully implemented in Vermont, how much farther behind are California and New York, and eventually the rest of the country going to be? For those reasons, in a lot of ways, this governor's race was very important to Democrats all over the nation, and I believe that was really shown in a lot of ways by Joe Biden's, Vice President Joe Biden's visit stumping for Peter. This campaign was by far the most difficult and stressful thing I've ever done in my entire life, hands down. The first 2 weeks of the campaign were in a lot of ways just a series of mental breakdowns that, that went on over the course of the day. And, you know, I figure after the campaign, if I can manage a network of 200 to 300 plus volunteers, people I don't pay, and get them to do what I need them to do, I can easily manage a network of 16 people who I do pay. Additionally, I never knew it till the last day of the campaign. The whole campaign I thought, I'll never do this again, I'll never work on a political campaign again, until 5 minutes after the polls closed. At 7:05, I got into my car to head up to our reception party in Burlington, and just this, after 2 months of the most hectic, busy, difficult thing that I've ever done, just all these this wave of emotion just came over me, and I was just like, I cannot wait for next election cycle. Essentially, I'm a campaign lifer. The campaign was a lot of really hard work, and I think Vermonters really proved that we're passionate, we know the direction Vermont should head in, but now's when the real work begins.